I spent 50 years as a nurse, 50 years in wards and emergency rooms and intensive care units, giving everything I had to the people in my care. And for the first 20 years of that career, I believed something that I now understand was not a virtue at all. It was a category error that cost me and cost the people I was caring for more than I understood at the time. I believed that giving everything was the same as giving well, that pouring yourself out completely, holding nothing back, putting every last resource of attention and energy and care into the people who needed it, was what a good nurse, what a good person did. That anyone who rested, who said no to the extra shift, who protected their days off, who maintained anything that looked like a boundary between their care and their own needs, was somehow lesser, was failing the people they were supposed to be serving. I am 86 years old, and I was wrong. Not wrong to care, not wrong to give. Wrong about the arithmetic, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I want to say that not as a phrase you've heard before and perhaps dismissed as a soft sentiment about self-care, but as a precise description of something I watched happen over and over across 50 years of professional care. When a person gives from depletion rather than from fullness, the giving continues on the outside. They continue to show up. They continue to perform the care and meet the obligations and be present in the room. But what is given changes. It becomes thinner, less present, more mechanical. The people receiving it notice even if they cannot name what they notice. And the person giving it is being slowly, quietly, irreversibly damaged in the process. This is not a metaphor. I watched it happen to colleagues. I watched it begin to happen to me. And I watched, in the most devastating case of my career, what becomes of a person who gives from depletion for long enough that there is simply nothing left to give. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was a nurse on the same ward as me for 11 years. She was, when I first worked with her, one of the most naturally gifted caregivers I have ever encountered. She had the specific quality that the best nurses have. A way of being present with a patient that made the patient feel that they were the only person in the world at that moment, that their pain and their fear and their situation had her full, unhurried, completely sincere attention. Patients asked for her. Families trusted her. Colleagues sought her counsel. Margaret also worked consistently across those 11 years at a rate that I watched with increasing concern. Not one shift more than she should, but two. Not one day off a week, but barely half. She stayed late because there was always more to do, which there always is, which there will always be, which is not a fact that can be managed by staying late, but only by accepting. She said yes to the request that could have been declined. She said yes to the favors and the additional responsibilities and the calls at home on the days that were supposed to be her own. And the reason she said yes was not weakness or lack of discipline. The reason she said yes was the same reason I had said yes for 20 years before I understood it better, because it felt like what a person who genuinely cared would do. Because saying no felt like a choice between her comfort and someone's need. Because the arithmetic of depletion was invisible. The cup looked full enough from the outside. Margaret had a breakdown in the 11th year of our working together. Not dramatic, not violent, simply the quiet, complete collapse of a person who had given more than they had for longer than was sustainable. She was absent from the ward for 4 months, and when she came back, which she did because she was both resilient and committed, she was changed. Not diminished entirely, but the specific quality that had made her exceptional, the way of being fully present with a patient that her patients had felt and trusted and sought out, was not fully there in the same way. She had given it away into a system that had accepted everything she offered without offering her replenishment in return. What Margaret gave after the emptying was still care. It was competent and conscientious and professional. But it was not the same. The thing that had made it extraordinary was the specific fullness from which it had come, and the fullness had been spent, and you cannot pour what is not there. 3 things. From 86 years of living and 50 years of professional care. First, rest is not the absence of giving, it is the condition of it. This is the reframe that changes everything. Most people who find it difficult to rest, to stop, to take the time they need, frame rest as a withdrawal, a not giving, a thing that happens at the cost of what they should be giving. And if rest is framed as a withdrawal from the work of care, then every moment of rest carries the guilt of the giving not done. Rest is not a withdrawal. Rest is replenishment. It is the specific activity without which the giving becomes depletion and the depletion becomes damage. The nurse who rests is not choosing her comfort over her patient's need. She is maintaining the instrument through which the patient's need can be met. The parent who takes the time they need is not choosing themselves over their children. They are ensuring that the children get a whole parent rather than the residue of a depleted one. You cannot give what you have not maintained the capacity to give. Rest, sleep, solitude, the activities that replenish your specific kind of depletion. These are not luxuries that happen at the cost of your obligations. They are the maintenance schedule for the instrument through which your obligations are fulfilled. Without them, you give less well than you could. Without enough of them, for long enough, you give from nothing at all. Second, self-preservation is not selfishness. This is the misunderstanding at the heart of why so many caregivers, parents, partners, and people who genuinely love and serve others run themselves to depletion. Because in the specific moment of choosing to protect your own resource, to sleep instead of staying up, to say no to the extra request, to take the day that you need, the choice feels selfish. The need you are declining to meet is right there, visible and real, and your rest, your boundary, your limit, is also right there. And the arithmetic of that specific moment says, their need is more important than your comfort. That arithmetic is wrong, not because your comfort does not matter, because what is being sacrificed is not only your comfort, it is your capacity to give tomorrow and the day after and the year after that. The choice is never between your needs and the other person's. It is between giving from fullness or giving from depletion, and giving from depletion, sustained over time, does not produce more giving, it produces less. It produces the kind of giving Margaret gave after the emptying, competent, present, professional, and missing the thing that had made it extraordinary. Self-preservation is not selfishness. Self-preservation is the maintenance of your capacity to give, and maintaining your capacity to give is one of the most genuinely caring things you can do for the people you are committed to caring for. Third, you are someone's instrument. Keep the instrument in tune. I mean this specifically and practically, not metaphorically. Every person who gives in a sustained way, as a parent, a nurse, a teacher, a carer, a partner, a friend, is an instrument through which something necessary reaches the people who need it. The care, the attention, the love, the service, the knowledge, the presence, all of it reaches others through the specific instrument of you, not a version of you. You, with your specific capacity, your specific quality of presence, your specific way of giving that no one else gives in quite the same way. And instruments require maintenance, not as an indulgence. As a prerequisite of function, the violinist who plays on a badly strung instrument does not give their best performance. The doctor who operates on inadequate sleep does not give their best care. The parent who has had nothing that belongs to them in weeks does not give their best presence. This is not a character failure, it is a physics problem. You cannot give what you have not maintained the capacity to give. Know what your instrument needs. Not in the abstract. Specifically, what kind of rest replenishes you? What activities restore rather than drain? What quality of solitude or company or movement or stillness is the specific replenishment your specific instrument requires? Learn this. not once and not generally, with a specific, ongoing, self-aware attention of someone who understands that their capacity to give depends on it, and then give the instrument what it needs. Regularly, without guilt, with the clear understanding that the maintenance is not a withdrawal from your obligations. It is how you fulfill them. I am 86 years old. I retired from nursing 36 years ago, and the thing I most want to pass on, from 50 years of watching what giving from depletion costs and what giving from fullness produces, is this: the people who gave the most, sustainably across a whole career and a whole life, were not the ones who gave the most in any given week. They were the ones who understood that they were an instrument, that the instrument required maintenance, that resting and protecting their capacity was not the opposite of giving but the precondition of it. They gave from fullness, and from fullness they could give again. You're the instrument through which someone's life is made easier, or richer, or less frightening, or more possible. That instrument is worth maintaining. You are worth maintaining, not for your own sake alone, though for your own sake alone you are worth it, for theirs, for the people who need the fullness you are capable of, rather than the depletion you are currently offering because no one told you that the cup needed filling. Fill it before you pour again. The people you love deserve what you give when you are full. Give them that. It is the most generous thing you can do.